Do you remember Penny? The beautiful blonde waitress who lived across the hall from Sheldon and Leonard on The Big Bang Theory? For over a decade, she made us laugh, cry, and believe in love. But behind all that laughter was a story most people never knew. A story of hidden heartbreak, secret romance, painful goodbyes, and a strength that would be tested again and again. Today, we're going to talk about Kaley Cuoco, the woman who played Penny, and what her life has really been like. Trust me, this story will touch your heart. Before we begin, if Penny ever made you smile, if The Big Bang Theory was part of your life, please hit that like button. It means the world to us and helps us share these stories with more people like you. Let's start from the beginning. Kaley Cuoco wasn't born into poverty or struggle. She grew up in a normal, loving family in California. Her parents cared for her deeply, and she had a younger sister who looked up to her. But even though her childhood looked perfect from the outside, something was missing. At just 6 years old, Kaley started appearing in commercials. While other kids were playing in parks and having sleepovers, she was memorizing lines and standing under bright studio lights. Her father drove her to auditions before sunrise. Her mother helped her get ready for shoots. And little Kaley learned to smile on command, to cry when the director said so, to be professional before she even understood what that word meant. She was also an amazing tennis player. By the time she was a teenager, she was one of the best young players in Southern California. Can you imagine? Spending your mornings on the tennis court, your afternoons on movie sets, and your evenings doing homework? Most kids would have broken under that pressure. But Kaley kept going. She didn't complain. She didn't rebel. She just worked harder. When she turned 16, she had to make a choice. Tennis or acting? She couldn't do both anymore. So she put down her tennis racket and chose Hollywood. It was a brave decision, but also a sad one. She was giving up something she loved for a dream that might never come true. The years that followed were tough. Really tough. Kaley was getting small roles here and there, but nothing big. Casting directors knew her face, but couldn't remember her name. She would walk into audition after audition, smile her brightest smile, give her best performance, and then hear those painful words, "Thank you, we'll call you." But the call never came. Or if it did, it was just another small part that would be forgotten in a week. Hollywood has a cruel way of making you feel invisible. Kaley was working constantly, but somehow she wasn't really there. She was almost famous, almost successful, almost enough. But almost doesn't pay the bills or fill the empty feeling inside. Then, in 2007, something incredible happened. Kaley auditioned for a new TV show about nerdy scientists and their pretty neighbor. The role was called Katie at first, and Kaley tried out for it. But they said no. She was too young, they said. Not quite right. It hurt, but she kept going. A year later, the show's creators called her back. They had rewritten the character and renamed her Penny. This time, when Kaley walked into that audition room, something magical happened. The chemistry was perfect. The timing was perfect. Everything just clicked. She got the part. The show was called The Big Bang Theory, and it would change her life forever. At first, nobody knew if the show would be a hit. But slowly, episode by episode, people fell in love with it. Penny became America's sweetheart. She was the girl next door, the dreamer who never gave up, the warm heart in a world of brilliant minds. And Kaley brought her to life in a way that felt real and honest. The show became huge. 20 million people watched it every week. Kaley's face was everywhere, on magazines, billboards, TV screens. By the show's final seasons, she was earning $1 million per episode. Can you imagine? $1 million for one episode. She had become one of the highest paid actresses on television. But here's what most people don't know. While Kaley was making millions of people laugh, she was dealing with her own private heartbreak. You see, she had fallen in love with one of her co-stars, Johnny Galecki, who played Leonard. Their love story started quietly, behind the scenes, away from the cameras. They shared coffee before filming, left little notes for each other, stayed late on set just to talk. For a while, it was beautiful, but they had to keep it secret. Nobody could know they were dating. They couldn't go out to restaurants like normal couples. They couldn't hold hands in public. They had to pretend they were just friends while playing lovers on TV. At first, hiding their relationship felt exciting, like a special secret only they shared. But secrets can be heavy, and this one got heavier and heavier until it crushed what they had. They broke up, but they still had to work together. Imagine having to kiss someone on camera every week after your heart has been broken by them. Imagine having to make believe you're in love when in real life, you're trying to forget them. That's what Kaylee had to do. She showed up, smiled, delivered her lines, and made everyone laugh. But inside, she was hurting. Johnny later said that Kaylee would always have a piece of his heart. And maybe that's true. Some loves never really end. They just change shape. After Johnny, Kaylee thought she was done with love for a while. But then she met Ryan Sweeting, a professional tennis player. He reminded her of her own tennis days, of a simpler time. They fell fast and hard. Within 6 months, they were married on New Year's Eve. Kaylee wore a beautiful dress and danced barefoot under the stars. She thought she had found her forever, but forever didn't last. Ryan's tennis career wasn't going well. He got injured and couldn't play anymore. The man who had once been so confident started to feel lost and small. Kaylee tried to help him, tried to fix him, tried to love him back to happiness. But you can't save someone who's drowning if they won't reach for your hand. The marriage fell apart less than 2 years after it began. There was no big fight, no cheating, no drama. Just two people who couldn't find their way back to each other. Kaylee filed for divorce in 2015. She covered up the tattoo of their wedding date with a moth, a symbol of change and transformation. She wasn't ashamed of the marriage, she said. It was just part of her story. 3 years passed. 3 years of healing, of learning to trust again, of figuring out who she was without someone else. Then, in 2017, she met Carl Cook at a horse show. Carl loved animals as much as she did. He understood her in a way that felt easy and natural. There were no games, no secrets, no pressure. Just two people who enjoyed the same quiet, simple things. They got married in 2018 on his family's ranch. It was perfect, she said. The sky was wide and blue, the air smelled like wildflowers, and for a moment, everything felt right. But again, life had other plans. Work pulled Kaylee in one direction. Carl's own life pulled him in another. They still loved each other, but love isn't always enough. Sometimes two good people just can't make it work. By 2021, they separated. It was a gentle ending, they said. No anger, no bitterness, just acceptance. After 2 failed marriages, Kaylee told everyone she was done. No more weddings, no more trying. She would focus on herself, her career, her animals. She had her dogs, her horses, her beautiful home. That would be enough. But in 2022, something unexpected happened. She met Tom Pelphrey at a Hollywood event. And this time, love felt different. It wasn't loud or dramatic. It was quiet and steady. Tom didn't need her to be perfect. He just loved her exactly as she was. And then, the biggest surprise of all, Kaylee got pregnant. At 37 years old, after everything she had been through, she was going to be a mom. In March 2023, she gave birth to a baby girl named Matilda. Kaylee says that when she held her daughter for the first time, the whole world went quiet. All the pain, all the heartbreak, all the years of wondering if she would ever have this, it all made sense. Now, Kaylee lives in a beautiful home in Hidden Hills, California, with Tom and Matilda. The house is surrounded by land where her horses run free. She has dogs, goats, chickens, even a rescued pig. Her home is loud and messy and full of life, and she loves every minute of it. But life hasn't been easy on her body. In 2010, while riding her horse, Kaylee had a terrible accident. The horse got spooked and threw her off. She hit the ground so hard that both bones in her leg broke completely. The bone even broke through her skin. It was horrifying. Doctors weren't sure if they could save her leg. For a moment, they thought they might have to amputate it. Can you imagine? 1 minute you're riding your horse, feeling free and happy. The next minute, you're in an emergency room, signing papers that might let doctors cut off your leg. But Kaylee fought back. She had 2 surgeries. They put metal rods and screws in her leg. The pain was unbelievable. But just 6 weeks later, she walked back onto the Big Bang Theory set. The audience clapped before she even said a word. They weren't clapping for Penny. They were clapping for Kaylee, for her strength, for her courage. She still has a long scar down her leg. She calls it her badass scar. It reminds her, she says, of how much she can survive. Then, after giving birth to Matilda, Kaylee developed another problem. Her wrist started hurting so badly that she could barely lift her baby. The doctor said it was tendinitis from all the strain of being a new mom. She had to wear braces on both wrists for weeks. It was humbling, she said, but it taught her something important. Her body wasn't perfect, but it was strong. It had carried her through so much, and it would carry her through this too. Today, at 40 years old, Kaylee Cuoco is in a different place. She's not chasing fame anymore. She's not trying to prove anything to anyone. She's just living her life, raising her daughter, loving her animals, and making the kind of work that matters to her. She's also incredibly wealthy. Her net worth is estimated at around $110 million. She owns multiple beautiful homes, drives nice cars, and has invested wisely. But money isn't what makes her happy anymore. What makes her happy is waking up to her daughter's laughter. It's riding her horses through the California hills. It's the simple, quiet moments that used to feel out of reach. Kaylee has also become a huge advocate for animal rescue. She's donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to shelters and rescue organizations. Through her production company, named after her late dog Norman, she helps fund medical care for abandoned animals and supports the building of new shelter facilities. She doesn't do it for publicity. She does it because she genuinely loves animals and wants to help them. Looking back at her journey, it's clear that Kaylee Cuoco's life has been anything but easy. Yes, she had fame and success, but she also had heartbreak, pain, and moments when she didn't know if she could keep going. She lost loves, broke her body, and questioned everything she thought she knew about happiness. But through it all, she kept showing up. She kept trying. She kept believing that something better was waiting for her. And now, finally, she's found it. Not in a perfect marriage or a flawless life, but in the messy, beautiful reality of being a mother, a partner, a friend, and a woman who knows her own worth. Kaylee doesn't need to be Penny anymore. She's learned to just be Kaylee, and that's more than enough. So here's what we can learn from her story. Life will break your heart. It will knock you down. It will make you question everything. But if you keep going, if you keep believing, if you refuse to let the pain win, you'll find your way to something real. Something worth fighting for. Kaylee Cuoco turned her pain into purpose, her scars into strength, and her heartbreak into hope. She's not perfect. She never was. But she's real, she's honest, and she's proof that you can survive anything if you don't give up. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button right now. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more incredible stories like this one. Let's celebrate the people who inspire us, not just when they're shining, but when they're surviving. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.